G'day guys, Camshan here today with an unboxing and review of the Feelworld Master MA6P field monitor. Now, what is a field monitor, you might ask? Well, it's mainly a tool used for cameras. Use it with your gimbal, use it to film yourself when you're in a setting like this, but you can also use it for many other devices. So we'll get into that in today's video, as well as we'll go over some of the specs and features of this monitor. This is an on-camera monitor, so it's intended for cameras that you have a teeny little screen on, or ones that don't swivel and you need to film yourself, like in this setting. So if that's you, then stick around, watch the video, you're gonna learn a lot. Primarily, these are great for gimbal work. So if you've got a gimbal and you're using it underslung, or you're trying to do some crazy little whip pans and it's really hard to see your screen behind your gimbal's motors, these are absolute clutch. Like, they come in perfect on those shoots. So we're going to unbox it and we're going to look at what we've got here today. So here's the box it comes in. It's a pretty minimalist looking brown box. Once opening it up, it's very sealed. You'll find a carry bag. The bag has a couple of mounting options, so you can strap it on or hook it on with a carabiner clip, and obviously you can use the zipper. That's not meant to happen. Just putting it back on, putting a bit of pressure. Looks like in the factory that zipper just wasn't closed enough. Now it's not going anywhere. So minor easy fix, but still, I don't know, take that as you wish, it fell off. Opening the bag, you've got yourself an instruction manual, or guide manual as they call it, which is actually worth reading if you pick one of these up. Next up, we've got the sun hood, which is Velcro attached to the monitor, so it's easy on and off. It does provide protection from a lot of glare, which I haven't really had a huge issue with, but if you're in a very bright, direct sunlight area, this will give you housing from the harsh sun. Also included is a micro and mini HDMI cable. You should know what they do. And finally, the monitor mount arm. This thing is very similar to something of the small HD range, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is an excellent implementation to allow you to swivel a monitor. And finally, here is the monitor itself. As you can see, we've got a very sleek and round, clean-edged profile for the current 2019 version of the Master line. Looking at the top, we've got the left-right menu function, also doubles as the down, function 2 doubling as the up, function 3, and power button. The 3 function buttons are the secret weapon of the MA6P. These allow you to hotkey map any function within the menu, such as histogram, false color, or screen flip. Flipping upside down, you can see the 8.4 volts DC out port. So with an excluded adapter, you could power your camera from the battery on this monitor. You also have a standard headphone jack and a USB port for firmware upgrades. The right hand side is empty of ports, and if you had the mount on the right hand side, well, then it will show here like you can see. The left hand side has your HDMI in, out, and the DC 12 volt in. So this is where you feed your camera's monitor in, as well as if you're in a studio environment, that 12 volt gives you the constant power, which is excellent for an all day long shoot. And on the back you find standard Sony and Canon battery mounts, as well as the custom 2-screw method for the 1/4 inch thread, which I'll get into later on. It's not really ideal. Upon inserting a battery, the monitor will start up. You can also see that there's an LED indicator in the bottom right corner. Now, it does feel really good in hand. It's super lightweight, and also depending on the battery that you attach will modify the weight there. But yeah, it's really good in the hand. The plastic, it feels good, like premium plastic, but it sounds like cheap plastic, if that makes any sense. Like when you like tap it and stuff, like it feels very hollowy. But hey, if you're somehow managing to break this field monitor, then you're probably also breaking your camera, because you shouldn't be bashing it against things. And yeah, let's go mount it and give it some real world tests. So here we are, we've got the monitor mounted to my gimbal and the Canon G7X feeding out via a flexible HDMI cable. Now I'll link that one below, it's a gimbal specific cable. But the first thing you'll notice on the monitor is it is super sharp. Look how clear that is. That's 1080p and it's giving you a big screen to see what you're doing. You can also flip the gimbal into underslung mode and I can see clearly what we're aiming at. Ignore that glare, that is because we're filming on an angle. But if we do these crazy low shots, you can get things that you normally wouldn't be able to achieve without a field monitor. Just like this, we're floating over the top of this garden bed somehow magically, but if you look back, we can actually see that I'm holding my arm out to the side and I've got the monitor mounted, so I'm seeing exactly what I'm shooting, and it's just easy. You can really think outside of the box. Now if we pop over into the rest of the park, crossing the bridge, I'm holding the Blackmagic down low and I wouldn't be able to see the screen. This hasn't got a swivel screen. I can with this shot. If I'm filming this park bench, I can also use my focus assist, lock in my focus, and I can hold it down low, give you that larger, larger than life feel, just like a child would see. Now the screen is super sharp. Remember, we've got a 1080p screen and we've got an IPS color panel so we can look at it on different angles. Now the histogram is also perfect for, especially if you're shooting raw, you can see how much you can squeeze into that dynamic range when you're getting those shots on the go. Now, speaking of on the go, looking at the screen here, you can see that the colors are different. We've got like a very purple tint, and this was the first out of the box footage. It was on my Insta, remember to follow at CamShand. Now this follower DM'd me and was like, yo, those screens are different. I've got field monitors as well. I can't color match them. What's going on? This leads us into the settings on the monitor. So here we have the G7X feeding via the mini HDMI cable that came in the box into the monitor, and we're going to take a look at what settings there are. And we're just going to remove the sun hood first so you can see just how easy it is to remove the Velcro. Okay, so here you can see an image shot from the State Library in Melbourne. Now we're just going to toggle on and off the settings. So pressing the menu button will bring up the on-screen display. Pressing the down arrow takes you down into the menu, and using the left and right toggles through the preset modes as well as a custom user to change your brightness, contrast, saturation and sharpness. Going down to color temperature, you can modify the color temperature of the screen itself. You can also go to user to change the magenta tint like shown in that Instagram clip. This is where you would fix it up. Pressing the menu button will take you back up into the top menu so you can go across to further settings. You're going to find your language settings, aspect ratio, and here's where we're going to start skipping some settings. So here we've got the on-screen display transparency. We've also got backlight. Now this changes the true brightness of the screen. Don't modify brightness under the first menu because that's just artificial brightness. This is true lumen output brightness. Ducking over into the zoom menu, you've got zoom. Now this is essential for nailing focus. So we can go all the way to 16 times on the input source. So if you're feeding it a true 4K source, it's not going to be native pixel to pixel, but it's going to be way closer than it used to be. Jumping into the functions menu, we've got center marker, which is pretty much a crosshair for the monitor. This can be turned on or off. Your safe frames can be off. You've also got a variance of general percentages in the 16:9 ratio, as well as the 235:1 ratio. You've got 9 grid on and off, which is what you use to line up your rule of thirds. You've got image freeze on and off, and the very important image flip. The flip allows you to put the monitor upside down into selfie view using the included tilt arm. You've got on-screen display flip on and off as well, so you can see the settings when it's upside down. Here's you've got your anamorphic lenses. Now this is if you're shooting with cinema cameras and you've got specific lenses. This allows you to get the stretch for specific presets as well as a custom user preset. You've got check field, histogram, false colors. False colors is a major one, guys. This is huge. If you have not learned false colors and you're wanting to step up your film game, research false colors, invest in one of these monitors, and learning that is going to up your skills dramatically. You've got focus assist, which is another key feature. This lights anything up red when it is in focus. I use this all the time for pretty much every shot by tilting it on, checking what's sharp, and then tilting back off. You can also change the color of all of those settings. Overexposure on and off lets you know, depending on your exposure level, how bright something is. So if something is exposing too bright, it'll let you know. Embedded audio will give you levels for any output sourced via your camera over HDMI. And finally, we've got ratio markers, which have a heap of industry standards, which are also great to use if you've got those anamorphic lenses. You can also change the color of these as well as the width and the mark itself.
Finally, you got the custom button settings. So these have 3 function buttons that you can set yourself. So you can set up 1 button press to turn modes on and off. So here we've got focus assist, we've got overexposure, and we've got image flip, which is essential if you're filming yourself and you've got it on the monitor arm. You can flip it into selfie mode, correct it, and then you're good to go. Now, of course, if you had a cinema camera like myself, you have a lot of these settings anyway, but if you're shooting something like a DSLR, pick one of these up, you will not regret it. And to get more value out of your purchase, well, you can use it as a second screen for anything. So say you're sitting at your computer and you want to watch a video, you're catching up on some videos of Bruce, and then you can smash out your essays or whatever you need to type, or your important documents, and you're good to go. And here I'm showing my sync within my DAW, and I can see all the parameters whilst I'm playing, and it minimizes looking across to my full computer screen. Now we're driving in the car and I've got the GoPro set up on the windscreen. Now I know exactly what my shot is like, how well framed it is, what settings the GoPro has, even though it's all the way over on the other side of the car, because I've got it running into the MA6P here, right next to me. So using the micro HDMI out of the GoPro, you can feed it straight into the monitor. That's another use there. So I popped over to Hebron Films. The guys were kind enough to lend me some of their film monitors for a comparison. So here you can see the Blackmagic's 5-inch monitor on the back of the screen, the Feelworld Master, and the ATOMOS Inferno, and a small HD 5-inch. Now these monitors are industry standard on the right. As you can see, they work professionally in the film industry, and this is what they will use. So we're going to compare it here for brightness. Now if you have a pure white, you can see the laptop screen is actually brighter on the ATOMOS, but the rest of them are pretty much on par. If I mount them on top of the camera, I'm going to just record a quick clip here with the field monitor. So we've got that little whip pan. Now this is very, very fast flicking. If we play it back, you better see just how much lag there is going to the monitor. So that is called your input lag. Now let's feed that same video through every other monitor. So here's the ATOMOS. And then I mount the small HD and we'll look at the same video again. Okay, so let's play them all together now. You can see that they are hairpin away from being the same. So we've slowed down even more. You can see that they're very close. Now some frames they'll move ahead, some frames they'll move behind. And that's because we're shooting at 60 frames and these are 60 Hz refresh panels. So I probably would need more of a high speed camera to be able to capture those in between refreshes, but it is so close, which to be honest isn't worth paying the extra if you're just after a budget monitor with quick response time. This is perfect. Okay, so I've had the monitor for about a month now, and through that I've done some different testing, figure out any quirks, anything that's wrong and anything that's good. To be honest, it's been fantastic. Battery life on it is about 2 hours on a standard Canon LP battery. So that's the smallest, most lightweight, which is what you want if you've got a handheld rig. Or if you want to, have longer juice, you can put in a massive Sony NP battery if you want. Like we saw in the Moment video, you can get huge batteries. They'll probably give you a full day's worth of juice. Otherwise, if you're powering on your rig, maybe you've got like a big shoulder rig and you've got a V-mount battery with D-tap, you can just plug that straight into the monitor as well. So don't forget that. The ability to just switch it over with this mount into selfie view and use those function buttons to quickly just like flick the screen to be facing you is fantastic. It's definitely a huge pro for this monitor, having those function buttons to quickly switch it over, and then I can just knock it back to there and it's just ready, good to go. The only negative that I have with this monitor is when I first got it, I was able to like wobble it whilst it was on the mount. It worked itself loose quite easily with the screws, the 2-screw system, which I aren't hugely a fan of, but I was able to fix it with 2 plastic washers. I put them in myself and that has got rid of any looseness. So it might just be the length of the screws were too long and they're bottoming out in the thread and I wasn't able to hold down for a very long point of time, but now it's got no movement. It's definitely rock solid there, which is fantastic. In the end, for the price and budget field monitors, this is the go. Anything from Feelworld Master has that 10 millisecond response time. So if you're doing quick pans or you've got it on a gimbal, you need that. That's a necessity, and this monitor gives you exactly that. Alright, so thanks for watching the video. Maybe if you can't afford a Feelworld Master monitor, check out my DIY video coming up on the screen. but I highly suggest investing in a proper one because this thing is excellent and the DIY one really isn't that great. Otherwise, maybe consider subscribing to the channel and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.